Okay guys, quick update with video. So if you watched the last video I put out, it was this video here. It was Bitcoin chop, drop, pump, and crash, my prediction and timing. That video, it got almost 9,000 views and got 500 likes. Now look guys, I get it. Some of you just watch the video and move on. I don't ask you to leave likes, but that's pretty pathetic guys. 500 likes out of 9,000 views for a play that was perfect. I said, look, if we continue breaking down below these support levels, your point too long was 77,800, and that played out perfectly. We got a nice bounce right from this point. So look, I'm just going to be very blunt about this. Now, you guys that leave likes, I do appreciate it. Again, I appreciate it very much. But 500 likes out of 9,000 views for a call that played out this well. If you want me to actually put out a video when I go long at this ring, when we cross the ring, when I go short, and I'll explain one more possible scenario if we cross the ring and push up, how I'll play that as well. But if you want me to actually make a video when I do this, then you're gonna have to get those likes up to 2,000, 3,000. I mean, it's just clicking the like button, subscribe, leaving comment is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it would, again, you show your support for me, and I don't mind putting out a video when I go long. Otherwise, this will just be in Discord. So we're going to cover a few charts. Now, we did get a nice bounce. I told you about this orange ring in the last video. But the question is, should you take profit in your long soon, or do you have more downside? And that's what we're going to cover in this video. And I will give you key levels on this chart, as well as multiple other charts. Now, guys, you want to get a leverage trade in CoinCatch is a great option. It is no KYC. They have a special going on. If you deposit if you deposit $1,000, you can get $3,000 back. Plus, you can get free access to my charts, Discord, tutorials, depending on which one of these tiers you take advantage of. I'll put a link up to this events page now. Also, at the end of this video, some people were asking, well, how do I claim my deposit? That link will be pinned in the first comment description. I will cover that into this video. If you do want to sign up under my affiliate link, that is under the events page as well. And again, all these links will be pinned in the first comment description. My referral link is here. I'll put a link up to it now. So again, no KYC, no VPN. Also, Blowfin is having a special as well. That events page is also pinned in the first comment description if you want to read it or go through it. I'll put a link up to this. Again, all these links will be pinned in the first comment description. And another exchange they're promoting is Hotcoin. Remember, all of these are no VPN, no KYC. If you want to learn how to trade on CoinCatch, it's a video tutorial I put up covering all of the tools I use and how to protect yourself. So I do suggest watching this video if you're new to trading. Even if you're pretty good at trading or have experience, it's worth watching this video, especially if you're trading on CoinCatch. I'll put a link to this video now if you want to check it out. So again, this chart, we're going to come back to it. But here's the thing. We did drop down. I told you that the point too long, if we break this level, right here around 83,900, then more than likely we're coming down to test 77,800. Now the reason I think that maybe we could see some more downside is because if you'll notice, we did not fill that gap. Notice over here, this gap is at 77,825. We came down to that gap, and I think a lot of people were expecting to long this point. Market makers pushed it up, or people jumped in before knowing we would push up, and people missed the train. Now the question is, since we're so low right now, will that gap get filled? So listen to what I'm saying. We dropped down, we got close to the gap. People missed their long opportunity. Price shot up. People are getting bullish. And I'll show you we're hitting some key resistance levels, specifically this line here. And now, guys, you have to look at the charts carefully. Notice how I have this line drawn out. Most people would just go from the top of the wick down to the next wick, right? So that shows a breakout. That shows that we broke above 84,240. So that means we are going to go higher. But I see the charts differently. I see a resistance level, right? You can see that there's a support right through here. You see we had a little gap right here, and that's something to pay attention to. We have a gap up around 98,725 now. But notice this was resistance, 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 and now it's resistance again. So again, if you look at the charts and you study the charts, you can find these points. But again, I'm just pointing out that 85,000 right now is your resistance just on the CME futures chart. But because we did not fill this gap, think it's very possible they're going to send price back down. People will long the gap when we make contact with it, but then they'll send price down below it to stop out or take out those longs. And then when people start shorting, we'll start pushing up. So we need to cover a few charts, but again, that gap has not been filled. And being the price is still pretty low right now, I don't see why they would not take that gap out. And we have so much liquidity down below 77,000. We have liquidity going all the way down to around 70K. So again, I'm just giving you the facts and showing you what's in the charts. You have to make your decision on how you're going to play this. Now this is the D1 simple chart. This is just, this is like the D1 fib retracement, this chart here, but it's just simplified, just your most important levels. And remember what I said, this green line right here, if we go back, you can see that this was our previous peaks, right? It's a peak here, peak here. So we knew that that was going to be, all right, a support level, and we were just dancing and bouncing on that level until we broke it. All right, 92,000. I told you previous videos that was a very key level. We came down, we got a bounce, and then it became resistance at 88,700. And I said this next level, this orange trend line that I've been talking about for months and months and months, it goes back since the beginning of Bitcoin, goes all the way back, was our previous high in 2013, that was going to be a very key level for support. Hold on, guys. So we tested that level, we got a bounce. So again, the question is, are we going to go higher? Are we going to go sideways? Now, yes, I'm going to cover all these scenarios. But again, we did not fill that gap. So that makes me question whether we're going to go higher. Now, right now, right off the bat, you can see that this is going to be resistance level. We have a lot of resistance around 88,500 to 89,000. I'll show you the confluence on the, well, actually the H1 chart and the D1 chart. Remember, D1 chart is daily, H1 chart is hourly. Now listen, if 78,000 breaks, now I have levels, support levels between this point. Your most key critical support level. So if something happened and we just tanked, I don't think we'd drop all the way down to 64,000. That is a level to pay attention to. You can see this is the this broadening wedge that we broke up from. Well, to come back down to support, that is around 62,744. But as I told you, I'm going to go long at that ring. Now the question is, are we going to drop further, or are we just going to bounce and chop sideways till we make contact? So if you want to hold your long, hold your long. Have your stop somewhat above where you entered. Again, knowing when to get out is as much of a gamble as knowing when to get in. But you did know to long around 78,000, so hopefully you played that. This is the macro top and bottom. I'm not going to put a link up to the video. Just go through my videos and you can go back. I think it was titled, "Did I Just Short the Absolute Top?" You could have shorted 109,000. I shorted 108,000. We dropped from that point. We pushed up. We tested this again. Now on my chart, since my charts are in log scale, all of these peaks are encompassed by a curve. So we know that that is a very key resistance level. If you are on linear scale, this is the exact same chart. I talked about this in a previous video, as we tested it twice. So if we push back up, we could still get above our previous high. We could come down, we could push back up, and we could test 112,700. If it's further out, it could be 115,000. We would still put in a new all-time high, but we would still be underneath our macro, hold on, I just deleted that. We would still be underneath our macro trend line resistance, all right? So look, I'm just giving you your targets. And if we get above, at any time we get above this line right here, that'll be a massive breakout because that's been resistance since 2017. So those are your key levels to pay attention to. Now the question is, do we go sideways from here? Do we have another drop? Do we push up? So that's what we're going to cover. And then I'll cover your key levels, but I would like to point out, notice we found perfect support right here on this fib line. And you'll notice I have these white lines here, and I covered this in Discord, and I was showing how important these levels were. And I want to show you a zoomed out version. I had created another chart just to show you. But also keep in mind, this right here was a huge rising wedge. Now, this dotted line encompasses the tops, right? And this, you'll see this this yellow trend line, which is actually a fib channel line, was a very key support level. Now it kind of was in confluence with the with our rising wedge. Notice we topped out right here and then we dropped. So keep in mind, we just broke down from a huge rising wedge. But what I want to point out is how important these white lines were. And this is what I was showing. This has been support. These three white lines, you can see that this was support all through here. Now we did go below it. Notice it's perfect support back in November 24. And then again, now this is going to be resistance. We're coming up to that point now. That's why I need to show you resistance levels, because we could get rejected and have more downside. But you can see how important these levels are. This was a lot of support, right? We did drop below it, but we're back above it now. And ultimately, where we found support was right around this area, and that was confluence with the support level here. So yes, we're looking bullish right now, but we still have to get above some key levels. So I want to show you these key levels, and then I want to show you some possible scenarios with that ring. And we are not far from that ring. Now keep in mind, when we dropped, let's see here. Let me where is this? Let's see. I can just measure here. So when we dropped down to 77,000, we were only 22 days from that ring. At current price, we are now 27 days from that ring. So I will, now again, I scalped along. I've already taken my profit. As I told you guys, until we make contact with this ring, I am just going to be scalping. If we're above a certain point, next daily open, I'll go long again. But I don't want to keep holding my positions, because market makers and exchanges want to send price up and down to stop you out and to liquidate you. So if you make profit, take your profit. Again, when we make contact with the ring, that's when I will hold my position. When we cross it, we always get a drop at the ring. There has been some cases where we do get a drop, and then we push back up. So I'm going to cover that scenario. So right now on the D1 chart, I can tell you this. Your most key resistance level, and I watched that previous video. I did cover this, and I said, look, this right here, the center dotted line, right here, the center dotted line, this has been resistance and support. And take note how much confluence we have. We have that yellow macro trend line, goes back since the beginning of Bitcoin I talked about, right? We have this fib channel line right here, and we have this dotted line right here. So if you're in a long and you're looking for a point to take profit, you know, we are above the bottom of this channel, which could be bullish. I would take my profit on my long around 88,700. Even if we get a wick above, you know, guys, maybe 89,000. But this center dotted line is going to be resistance, this yellow trend line, and this fib channel line. So again, your most key resistance level right now is around 88,500. If we hold above that, all right, your next key resistance level will be the top of this channel. And again, it depends when you make contact. 93,500, take note, that's right here where the central Bollinger Band is. You have this fib line in this direction. You have this channel in this direction. You have the central Bollinger Band. That is a lot of confluence for a lot of resistance. I'm not saying we have to push that high. Before you can get bullish, we need to get above 88,500. It is very possible we just continue down from this point. But again, if we do push up, I think an ideal point to scalp a short or open a short, maybe hold a short. It's up to you. But 88,700, 88,500, nice point to take profit on your long. And then I think it's possible we could come back down, like I said, and we'll come down and fill that gap. Everybody will expect us to push up. And then I think maybe what they'll do is they'll keep sending it down. And your next key support level is down here around 73,600. And then your next key strongest support level is around, let's just say, close to 70K. So I don't know if we're going to continue down, if we're going to push up and chop. But I do know that when we make contact with this ring, I will go long. And the reason I say I'll short when we cross it is because every time we cross one of those rings, actually we've got a drop. Let me go to this other chart just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Take note that we're getting rejected right here, right at this trend line. So again, be creative when you find these trend lines. Again, if you look at the price action, you'll see that they try to trick you, but you'll find these. Notice this perfect support here, perfect support. You got a little gap there, and it was perfect support. Got a gap. Again, there's ways to look at these charts. We can find these points, but because we didn't fill the gap, I think we could come back down and I think people will long it. I think we will drop further. I think there's still more pain in the markets to come, and they will chop up and down. But let me get back to the point of this ring, and let me just show you what I'm talking about, okay? And that's the good thing about the D1 simple chart, is because there's less on the chart and it's easier to understand. But what I want to point out, notice every time we've made contact with this ring, we've got a bounce. We got a bounce right here. It was at, and again, this is back on February 22nd. We got a bounce at 34,463. We just kind of moved up it, crossed it. Now we did get a drop after we crossed it. All right, so hit the ring, pushed up, crossed it, dropped. It happened again. We came down, we tested this ring to the tick. This was in September 20, this is the 6th of September 2022. We got a hell of a bounce once we hit that ring at 18,544. Then we kind of went sideways. It was resistance, and then we had a drop. All right, let's look at the next ring. As we approached the ring, now we were respecting a trend line as support, but notice we pushed up the ring, right? We pushed up. As soon as we made contact with the ring, we shot straight up. So even though it was a smaller move, it was still a pretty big move. So we made contact at 41,600, pushed all the way up to 49,000, right? And then when we crossed it, look what happened. We got a drop. So it seems like every time we make contact, we get a bounce. And then this is what's key, and this is what I made a post in Discord because I want to cover all possible scenarios. So now this ring right here, again, this ring right here, it is possible that we just cross this ring and well, we make contact with the ring, we get a hell of a bounce, and then we cross it and we drop. If that does not play out, which I do believe once we make contact with the ring, we get a hell of a bounce. So if we drop down to 63K, or if we continue sideways at 78K, when we make contact with the ring, I will go long. But I did want to point out that it is possible we could ride up the ring like we did here, right? You get a nice bounce, even if you make contact again. Once you cross it, we always get a drop down to a support level. But notice we pushed up, we pushed up, we pushed up. As soon as we made contact with the ring as resistance, that marked the top for us to start consolidating in a pattern that actually broke to the upside. So all I'm wanting to point out to you is if we make contact with the ring, now there's multiple scenarios that could play out. We could just chop. We already found support here at 78,000. Keep in mind the gaps has not been filled. That makes me think we could still see some more downside. But I've already shown you your key resistance level on the daily to pay attention to. We broke down from this point. Now look, if we get above that point, the point we broke down from was 92,000, around that area. But this level, again, I'll go back to H1 chart and just explain to you, but 89,000, to 88,500, a lot of resistance. So if we chop, I don't know what price, or the price depends on when we make contact. So here's what's going to happen. Either we chop and just go like this and do something and go sideways. When we make contact, I will go long, and as long as we're before this ring, I will stay long. When we cross it, I will go short, because every time we've crossed one of these rings, we always get a drop. Now the thing is, if we hold support and start pushing up, well, the same thing that happened right back here when we pushed up as resistance in this area here, then that is where I will go short. Again, I'm just giving you all possible scenarios. I do know that when we make contact with the ring, we'll get a bounce, because every single time that has happened. And every time we've crossed it, we've got a drop. Now, if we cross it and we continue down, hey, we're going to hold this short and just ride it all the way down. But there is another possible scenario that it plays out like the previous one. So that means if we cross it, well, you can already enter your short because we're going to drop. So you're going to be in profit. You set your stop loss in profit. And then if we push up, well, then you go long until you make contact with the ring, and then you go short. Now, again, I'm just showing you possible scenarios how this can play out. But you do have to keep in mind, guys, just like I said, even if we push up, you need to pay attention, depending on wherever it is, whether we push up before the ring, 110,000, 111,000. Out here past the ring is 111,000. Same thing with this linear chart. So, if we push up before 111,000, possibly 113,000, that is a very key resistance level. So we can push up to that point, get rejected, and then start coming down. And if you can't really see it, I do have I have this stuff below, but There are so many things at play. Let me bring this up a bit. See if I can do that here. You see all of these. You see all of these things right down here. These are events, things that are going to happen. There's going to be inflation data is going to come out, jobs reports. It's possible that the jobs report is going to be abysmal, which means since unemployment's up, people might get bullish, thinking, okay, that makes sense. That is a good reason why we could get a bounce at this ring. Jobs, unemployment's up. The Fed says, well, if unemployment goes up, they'll lower interest rates. So people get bullish, we push up the ring, and then the Fed doesn't lower interest rates, or something happens after we cross the ring, and then we have some downside. But again, we're getting closer and closer to that ring. And again, depending on how many likes you leave, guys, and how much support you show me, I will put a video up the day of, or at least the day before, maybe both, when I go long at the ring. And again, when we cross the ring, I'll show you my play in a video. But guys, show your support and leave a like. So let me make sure you have all these targets to pay attention to. And remember, I will cover, again, some people are asking questions about how to get their deposit, claim their deposit on CoinCatch. And I'll cover that as well. So look, your most key resistance right now, pay attention. If we push up today, 87,800. Up to, and again, remember this dotted line is going to be resistance as well. That's 3 points of confluence, showing you this would be a point to take long on your take profit on your long if we push up. Your current support, well, we know our support level right now is right at 83,148. So if we drop back down below and get a daily open below 83,150, we're below this bottom of the channel, and we're below this fib line that you see we caught a perfect bounce twice on, and then we dropped. So again, if you want to stay bullish above 83K, have your stop below that point. But if we get a daily open below 83,150, we're headed back down to your next support level is around close to 80,000. But again, this is your most critical point to pay attention to, around 77,000, and that will fill the gap. But I think what's going to happen, just like I said, I think that we could push up a bit. I would short 88,000. I think they're going to send it back down. People are going to wait for that gap to get filled, since it was not filled, like I said. They did not fill the gap yet. Pay attention to these levels. They're very key levels. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to send it back down. Let me find this chart we were just on. Hold on. Okay, where's that at? So I think they're going to send it back down. It'll fill the gap. Everybody's going to go long, and then they're going to send it down further. So your next point to pay attention to is 73,600. If that breaks, 69K, and like I said, guys, go to YouTube, search Bitcoin book maps, and you will see we have only liquidity below us, absolutely no liquidity above. So there's much more reasons for market makers and exchanges to send price down. So I do think that what will happen, it'll be a setup or trap. Since it didn't get filled, they'll come back down, people are ready long, and it'll be max pain down to 73,600 or possibly 70K. But regardless how it plays out, again, like I said, how I will play this, whether we go sideways, whether we just bounce and go sideways, I will go long, right? When we make contact with the ring, I will ride it up. When we cross it, I will go short. But if we start pushing back up, I will short it when we make contact as resistance. And you do have your most key levels. Let me give you your and again, this is that orange line that I said too long. We almost made perfect contact with it. You can see this is the daily. Actually, this is on the weekly right now. See, this is the weekly chart. And this is the weekly Bollinger Band moving right up this ring. And remember previously I said when the daily Bollinger Band started getting squeezed, to expect a big move. Well, now the weekly Bollinger Bands are starting to get squeezed. So, we could come all the way down to, this support level right here is have around 67,700. It depends on how fast we drop. But again, I go long at the ring. We cross the ring, I go short. And then if we continue down, I hold that short. If we hold support and push up, then again, your key resistance is still going to be, this is that curve that this shows the top. And then again, this is, that linear, on a linear chart, these are all of our tops. So again, it is possible we can make contact with that ring. And either we ride up before it, again, so we just continue to go sideways or above 78,000. We make contact. You stay long before, right? If we cross here, I think it's pretty obvious that we're going down. But again, if we do push back up, we'll have to see what happens from there. But again, I do believe we're going to ride up that ring. We've never made contact with one of these orange rings without getting a pump, but every time we cross it, we do get a dump. So we'll have to see how it plays out. And again, guys, you keep those. You give me you give me some likes, subscribe, and I'll make sure I have a video up and have you prepared and know where that entry price is. Let me go to the hourly chart. And I did explain to you why these levels are so important. Let me go back to, so this chart is just zoomed out. This is that huge rising wedge we broke down from. And we are holding on some key support levels. So on your hourly, and again, there's a lot of confluence between the charts I just showed you. Notice we found perfect support down here at 78,963. Your next key support level on the hourly, all right? Remember this upward angle, it's not too much of an angle, but your next key support level is around 81,211. Notice we're just teetering on this resistance level now. I'm going to show it as resistance because we haven't got above it yet. But your most key resistance level, guys, 85,500, all right? That is a level. If we hold above that as support, your next resistance level, we do have this trend line I was talking about, but we've been bouncing up and down. We'll come below it, push above it. Your next resistance level is around 89,000. There's a lot of resistance around 88,500, 89,000. And then keep in mind the central Bollinger Band is sitting up somewhere around 94,335. And again, as long as we're below the central Bollinger Band, that is somewhat bearish. And we could push all the way up to 94K. But again, these are just your hourly targets. Let me give you one more. Notice how we got a perfect bounce right here, right? And then we broke it. So that's another resistance level. Again, these are scalp entries. But the most important chart to pay attention to is the D1 fib retracement. 88,500 around that area. That is where I would take profit on my long if we continue up, and that is point at open to short. But I do think because that gap was not filled, I think we will come down further. And there are so many things. Let me pull this up so you can see this. You can see all of these right here. These are different events. Right here is a Fed Chair Powell speech. Right here is job openings. So that's what I'm saying. We could actually get bad unemployment numbers, and then they're going to expect interest rates to lower. That'd be an ideal point to a reason to go long from the ring, but that means we would have to drop a lot. I don't know if we're going to go sideways, push up, or drop. I'm just giving you the levels, but I do know that when we make contact with the ring, that is a perfect indicator to go long. When we cross it, we always get a drop. Now the question is, do we continue down or do we push back up and test it as resistance? And that has played out in the last ring. That would have been your point to short, as I showed you right here. We hit it. That was the top. That's when we started consolidating. So I did want to make you very aware of that. Make sure I gave everything you needed. So again, pay attention to 85,000, 85,500. We'll have to see what happens there. These are your most critical, most macro, and again, let me. I don't want this to run too long. I just want to show you why these levels are so important. So if we did drop down, let's say that we still got pain incoming, and we're going to have a massive drop. I just want to show you why 63,200 is such a critical level. We have. Let me get rid of some of these lines, some of these drawings on here. So we have this support level, right? If you follow this, actually, yeah, right here. So this was support, this green line, support, support. So that will be support again, this line right here. We have this red macro trend line goes back since, well, all the way back here to 2017 as resistance, a lot of support through here. Well, we have that line right here, right? And we have this pattern that we were in that we broke up from. Well, the top of that resistance will flip as support. So you have 1, 2, 3 lines of confluence. So if we drop down, 62,200 would be an ideal point to go long. Again, I don't know if we're going to hit those targets, but just like we didn't know we dropped down to 78K, we knew that if we did, that was a point to go long. And we know if we push up, we know based on these charts, we know that 89,300 is going to be a lot of resistance. And we know that currently 88,500 is going to be a lot of resistance. So again, how you play this is up to you, but pay attention to see if we get an open below 83,150. That means we're probably coming back down to fill that gap, and I think that gap will be a trap. Could send us down to 73K, but rather we're down around 73K bouncing. I go long at the ring, right? or maybe we hold. Maybe this was the point we hold and we're just going to sideways chop. Even if we push up, I will go long at the ring. When we cross it, I will go short. And if we do push up, then when we make contact as resistance, that's where I will go short and hold my short. So I hope that makes sense. So I did want to cover, now you can, guys, you can get access to all these live charts in our Discord at any time. All you have to do is just go to my website, guys. It's objectcrypto.com. If you just want access to Bitcoin charts, crypto charts, and Discord, you can sign up through my website. Again, it's objectcrypto.com. That link's pinned in the first comment description. Make sure that you contact me through through my website, through the contact page if you need a Discord invite link, or if you want to take advantage of getting free access to my charts if you did the CoinCatch special. So again, I've already covered the CoinCatch special. For people that are curious, well, how do I claim my rewards? Again, this page here I will have linked. It'll be pinned in the first comment description. This shows you, how to claim your rewards. It shows you where to go to if you're on a mobile or if you're on desktop to actually claim your bonus, and then just email me through the contact page on my website. The next payout, if you sign up today for CoinCatch, that payout will be on March 6th, okay, because it's every 7 days. And again, there's 30 slots every 7 days for that 3,000 bonus if you deposit 1K. And again, they do have, if you deposit $500, you get $750, and there's 300 of those every 7 days. And again, depending on your tier, you can get free access to my charts, but you'll need to email me with your UID number for CoinCatch. And don't forget, Blowfin has some specials too. Do check that out. And Hotcoin is another great exchange that, again, so Hotcoin, Blowfin, and CoinCatch. All three of those exchanges, no KYC, no VPN, and great exchanges. So I do want to cover that, guys. So again, depending on how many likes you leave me, I will make a video when I go long and show my actual trade when I enter my long at this ring. But time is running out. We're getting closer and closer. But these are your key levels to pay attention to. We'll have to see what happens. That's it, guys. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.